Hi guys, I wasn't expecting to make a video today. Today is one day before New Year's Eve, and I thought I would just make the most of this time that I'm here charging my car and just kind of have a, I guess, life update. I'm sorry about the lighting and all of that. I have my glasses on and I know it's kind of annoying, the reflection and everything, so I'll do my best here with what I have. So how were your holidays? I hope you had a really happy Merry Christmas with your family. I haven't really had a lot of time to make more videos during this Christmas season. It was a really busy one for me, and I'm sure for a lot of people. I don't know if it's a little more busy for the moms than it is for the dads. Traditionally, moms are the ones that are on top of the holidays, right? And the presents, the meals, and we just like to rise up to the occasion, right? And I don't know, at least that's my experience. I watch a lot of like homeschool moms or on YouTube. Yeah, I think most of the women I follow are homeschooling moms, and it's interesting to see, you know, they're homemakers and they're really good at planning the holidays and the things that they're going to cook. And one in particular, I think her name is Natalie Bennett, that I follow. She shares this really interesting tip that she's learned from her mom. They keep a little journal, and so they, you know, it's just their journal of the holidays and the things that they've learned, and what they want to do differently, the lessons they learned, and just to constantly every year try to build and learn and just do kind of better. And I love that idea. I have yet to write down my notes and things like that, but I know I could definitely benefit from something like that. We ended up going over to my sister's home for the holidays a couple of days. She lives about like 1 hour away, so we did that. And we had some nice moments where we were able to just sit down and sing some Christmas songs and laugh, and then had some time opening presents. I don't know why, but everybody was just like really tired this year. It's almost like the older you get, the less, I don't know, the less excited you are of like presents, opening presents. Just because, especially if you're a parent of little ones, it's just mostly all about, you know, the little kids opening their presents and things like that. So what we ended up doing, we, you know, I am a fan of having traditions, but something that I've learned along the way is that you have to not grip onto your traditions, you know, for dear life, and be like, it's important not to be so like, what's the word, like, I guess you have to be flexible even with your traditions. And even if you end up not doing it 1 year or more than 1 year, and I guess it kind of, I don't know, at what point is it not a tradition if you don't do it every year, you know what I mean? But this year, since we were going to drive early, try to get there by Christmas, I decided, okay, we're going to do something a little different. My husband played at I think a couple. Well, I don't come to think about it. I'm not sure if he played at more than one church. Probably it was the same church all day long. I think they had like 4 services. So there was a little break in between those services at our church. And so we went to the first service. And I always enjoy being able to sit down with my husband during the message. That's very important. Something that I've learned this year. You know, if there's any musician wives out there, I'm pretty sure you understand. I will never forget one in particular wife. Once when I was like really early on in my marriage, she told me, you know, I'm just used to not having a husband on Sundays, because her husband would just play at different churches, and some families have to do that because that's how the husband is able to provide for his family. But so, you know, it was just kind of like one of those Christmas, and some Christmases I'm like, oh, I would really want, you know, I would really prefer that we get to spend the holidays with you. So like I would say, no, I don't really want you to play on for this year. It means more to me that you're here with us, but this year I'm like, you know what, it would be a good thing. So so I had to be a little flexible with the tradition. We usually open presents the Christmas morning when the kids wake up, and this year we decided that the kids were going to open up presents on Christmas Eve, which was Sunday, and there was like 1 hour in between the services, and so that's when we opened the presents. And I'm laughing because, come to think about it, and I need to write this down on my notebook, it was like a chaos when it comes to the food, because in my mind I grew up us having a Christmas meal together at the table, and then we opened presents. So I wanted to do that too, and it was going to be lunchtime for my husband anyway. So I was like, I want to make a meal and then open the presents. And so my rookie mistake, you know, was that I planned to make a lasagna. And I guess it was like my first time making a lasagna, because I didn't realize how long it takes to make a lasagna. In my mind, I was going to go to church, and I was going to have about like 1-ish, 2 hours to do that. And then I get home, I have all the ingredients and everything. I went shopping like the day before, and come to find out, wow, it takes more than 3 hours for this to be ready. And even the dessert, like, it took longer than what our window of time. So that was a little disappointing. So I ended up, you know, telling the kids, okay, kids, put on your shoes, put on your jackets. We're gonna do Operation Save Christmas lunch. And so we went back to the market, and we ended up just getting some steaks, chopping up some potatoes, and cooking some asparagus, and that was it. And then we opened our presents. This year I had the kids like write down a wish list, and in order, right, like 1 to 10 or something. Doesn't mean they were gonna get everything on the list, but just to see, like, I want to see what would be the presents that they really wanted. So we went through like Amazon, and this year the kids were all about Legos, in particular the Lego Movie 2 and 1, I think. So they got a couple of those from us, and I think their grandparents did too. But I think there was a problem with shipping this year. I don't know if you noticed, if you also got your things from Amazon. Their presents have just arrived today, so the kids are going to go over to their grandparents' home, and they're going to go receive those presents with their father while I'm out and about. So I wanted to do that. I wanted to change my tradition because I wanted the kids to be able to play with their Legos on Christmas Eve, because on Christmas Day they weren't going to be able to take their Legos to where we were going. And so that was, I felt, the best way to go about it. Later on, I ended up thinking, okay, you know what, I'm just gonna make the lasagna. I have all the ingredients, and I'm pretty sure it took more than 3 hours to do it, because literally I think I was on my feet the whole day on Christmas Eve making that lasagna. And I mean, it was good, but it was ready at 9 in the night. And I did eat a little bit, and I did give a little bit to my kids. And I was just disappointed because I wanted to like go over to my in-laws with this, and I ended up having to change our plans a little bit about going over and things like that. So that's what I'm writing on my notebook. I already told my kids, you know what? Whenever I want to make a lasagna in the future on a special day, I'm just going to make it the day before and then just, reheat it the day of. And that'll be a lot easier. But you learn these things one way or another, right? I think my kids learned it through me. So hopefully they'll never have a lasagna Christmas disaster. But it really was a little hard because it wasn't necessarily the way I wanted to spend my Christmas Eve. But yeah, you just have to be a little flexible about your traditions and your plans, and make the best of it, right? So what did I get for Christmas? Let's see. My husband got me a really sweet present. It's like a couple, a man and a woman, and they're like embracing and like dancing, and it's like this little music thing, like a music box thing where you wind it and then a pretty little song plays, and so they're like twirling, and it reminds me a lot of a picture I have on my nightstand of us dancing on our wedding night. And I love that picture because it was a lot of fun just trying to figure out how to dance in the first place. Because apparently my husband and I like didn't really dance or anything, and so it was kind of fun. It's a nice memory. What else? I guess that's where I'll end the Christmas update. I'd love to hear any of your traditions in the comments. Like, what do you guys do? Did you have to change your plans this year? I did want to share that another reason why it's important to like don't hold your traditions so tightly that you'll actually hurt your family because of your traditions. Because some people just, maybe the older we get, we're just more and more set on, well, this is what we always do, and this is what I want to do, and I'm not going to change my plans. You have to adapt to my plans. And I just want to be mindful of like not growing up to be that way, because it is very hurtful. Like, if you have your plans and it's all about, your tradition and your expectations for the holidays, and then like there's a change of plan, there's a sickness, there's a unforeseen whatever that happens, or just someone just wants to start their own tradition, or do something a little differently, maybe they want to spend it by themselves or whatever, and those little things should not cause like pain in families. I don't believe that that's what God wants us to do as Christians. I think the Bible is clear about us putting others first and being peaceful people, getting along and loving each other and just considering each other's needs and things like that. So yeah, I think it's one of my goals that I never want to let holidays and traditions be more important than the people in my life. You know, I can be disappointed, but family's first, you know? And I need to be flexible too. Like if someone wants to do something and, you know, I would have really liked to do it my way, you know, sometimes you are flexible and sometimes they should be flexible. And I think that's the fair way to do life, right? So the reason I'm charging my car and I'm not home is because I want to talk about this. I'm going to show you my shirt. It was my sister's idea for us to get like shirts that talk about supporting our family member. And this, it's like I think it's supposed to be like a dark blue ribbon. It stands for like cancer awareness of like the colon, or I think it's called like, I don't want to say it wrong, but you know, it's like the rectum, the colon, it's connected. And there are a lot of people that suffer. And it's pretty intense treatment so it's definitely something that grown-ups need to be aware of, especially to always make sure that you monitor and you talk to your doctor about those things, especially if there's history in your family, right? And don't wait until you're so weak that you have to, you know, it's like nothing can be done. Especially as Christians, sometimes we think, oh, I'm just gonna pray, I'm just gonna think, you know, mind over matter, and I'm just gonna get better like that. And sometimes what's really behind that is like a big fear of facing reality, you know, and what does that mean? What am I going to have to do? So I really want to bring awareness to that as well. I'll take advantage of like a minute here on this video to make sure that your family and yourself are taking care of yourselves and are aware of all the things that could require attention, you know. For my dad, it was a little while that I think we all started noticing that he was like getting thinner. He wasn't gaining weight, and it wasn't like he was doing it on purpose. It's like he had several, like he just had uncomfortable things going on with his eating, and I don't want to say too much about his own experiences, but the good news is that yesterday was his last round of chemo, and so they removed the little bag that was attached to his arm and all of that, and they had him like ring the bell and hold a sign, and it was like the first time I see my dad's like really happy smile, like how, you know, before everything happened, and he feels really encouraged. So I'm on my way to my parents' house, and I think I just wanted to mention that well, obviously to ask for your prayers, because the recovery plan is pretty much like 1/3 done. That was like the first step. Second step begins in about a month, and then God willing, he won't need the third step, which is surgery. So if you could help me pray that he won't need that surgery, that the first 2 steps will be enough, and the second step will be radiation. So that's pretty intense, right? I don't know if you have family members or you yourself have gone through that, but that does require some help, and so that's where the priority is right now, with my family. And but thank God he's been able to work. He wanted to keep working throughout his chemo, and God was faithful and he was able to work, and we've been able to help him with his meals and things like that. So you know how they say that, well, in the Bible it says that like our suffering helps us to like empathize with other people going through that, and it like equips us to be able to help those people, you know, in a way that we wouldn't be able to if we hadn't gone through it. And I think for the longest I couldn't really relate to people that were really sad during the holidays. And at church, I think there are some programs that are like surviving the holidays, and I've always seen that, and I was just never like, I mean, I could only imagine that, yeah, it must be hard if you lost someone. But practically I couldn't really like understand how it affects you emotionally, I guess. And for me, this Christmas has been the first one that hasn't been as happy as the other ones. And it's not because I wasn't blessed and I have so much to be thankful for, but it is just something in the back of your mind. When life is hard, sometimes the holidays, it's kind of like a mirror, and it shows you how hard your life is, or what thoughts, feelings you're having. So, you know, it's just hard getting excited about the new year and things like that, just like comparing it to last year, just feeling so carefree, you know. And this year I'm not sure if, like, spiritually, I'm not sure if it's the enemy that has been trying to steal my joy or cause me to just become anxious and fearful, you know. It's like spiritually God teaches us to be joyful, to be not fearful, not anxious about anything, but to bring all of our concerns to God and to be aware that He cares for us and all of this, right? But in the back of my mind, it was really hard going through Christmas in particular, because the thought of what if, you know, I was scared to just even think, you know, what if this is the last Christmas, you know, with our loved one. And I wonder if, or how many people also felt that way these holidays. And worse, you know, I think about, what about all the people that did lose their family, and they're not even there anymore, and they're like, you know, they did that was their last Christmas with their family, like years ago maybe. And I can't even imagine the level of pain that those people go through. And I just wonder, is Christmas always forever not as happy, you know, as it used to be? Is there always going to be that fear of maybe losing another one, another family member and things like that. Something that I believe God like helped me to just with my thoughts was just like I always remember, I believe it was Jesus' words that, hold on, sorry. Jesus' words that he said, like, embrace suffering. And so to me, that meant embrace the thing that you're scared of. So I felt like God helped me to think, okay, well, what if what if hypothetically, Lord willing, it's not, and you're just worried over nothing. Like, no one really knows what life will be like. You don't know like how long your own life will be. You don't really know what the future will look like. So in a sense, it's like, yeah, don't worry, because you yourself don't know how life will go. But another thought was, what if the worst thing that what if the worst thing you're afraid of happening is that it's gonna happen, and then what can you do? What is in your control? So I just kind of wanted to embrace, okay, well then I would want to take a really nice photo, a family photo, or I want to spend as much time together, or sometimes the expectations are not realistic, and it's like, okay, well, forget about the holidays. What about all the other days? Like, why don't you just go hang out, make the most of the time you do have, So, I think I need to move my car. That's my husband telling me something about the car. I guess I'll stop charging because he's texting me about it. I have enough. Yeah, I'll just finish this video and head out. So, I believe God taught me that, God taught me to, I can't, honey. I'll call you in 2 minutes. God taught me that, to not just stay in a fearful place in your mind, to not avoid things, instead face it and think about what is in your control. What can you do? And just don't assume that you know what's going to happen in the future, Also, something else that happened was I went to church and just singing a song about pretty much the gospel, laying it out. Song goes through Jesus' birth, his sacrifice, what that means, how he's coming back, what he's done for the church, all of that. It really emphasizes his victory. And it moved me. I had to stop singing because focusing on him, on his power, just on him, not even thinking about, gosh, I wonder if it's that serious. Just focusing on him, not like a miracle that I would want or anything like that. Just focusing on him, it moved me in a way that I feel like it warmed up the ice that was inside of me, the sadness. I think that's God's true joy, that he that he it's not necessarily like that he removes the sad things going on in our life. It's not that we're laughing and laughing, but it's just like a peace that we can have. That's joy. And it's only found in him. So I better get out of here. And thanks so much for listening to me these 30 minutes. Please like and share so that other people maybe that are going through a rough time can also see this video and maybe relate to me, or I don't know, maybe they'll need it in the future. So